Chosen one, there is something that has been said about you in a place you could not hear. It was said long before this moment, before the heartache, before the nights when you prayed and the ceiling seemed to hold all your words inside it, returning nothing. Before the season when you sat alone with the honest truth of how close you had come to releasing your grip on the belief that your life was going somewhere that mattered. Something was said about you in that silence, and it was not small, and today I am going to tell you what it was. There is a word the Hebrew writers used to describe the way God turns his face toward someone, not toward the crowd, not toward the people with clean records and well-organized lives, and a faith that never trembles, toward the one who is quietly still trying, the one who keeps returning even when everything inside them is tired from the returning. That word carries something in it that English does not have a direct translation for. It is a word of fierce, unhurried, completely personal attention. And chosen one, that attention has been on your life, not your performance, your life. You have no idea how deeply God loves you, and I do not mean that the way it reads on a sympathy card or in a quick text message someone sends when they know you are struggling. I mean the specific, exact, relentless, never-fatigued love that has been tracking your particular name, your particular history, the particular shape of everything you have been quietly carrying through seasons that most people never saw. The love that has not once checked the hour and decided it was too late for you. That love is what this message is about, not a concept of it, not a list of scripture references to support the claim. The full weight and reality of it, written across the evidence of your own life, in a language you may not have known how to read. Before this message is done, something in you is going to shift. Not shift in the superficial way that fades by morning, shift in the deep, structural way that changes how you carry yourself going forward. There are signs that mark a life that is being loved at depths most people cannot perceive. Signs that look completely ordinary from the outside until you understand what they actually mean. If even one of what I am about to share lands as true for you, I want you to stay with me, because your being here right now is not a random thing. The first sign is this: you feel things more deeply than almost anyone around you. Not just emotions, in the surface sense. You feel weight. You feel the invisible texture beneath conversations, beneath situations, beneath words that were never spoken out loud. You walk into a room and something in you registers what is happening before anyone gives you information. You lie awake at night carrying questions that most people have never thought to ask. And you have spent a long time wondering if that depth in you is a gift or a burden, because no one around you has ever quite been able to explain what to do with it. That sensitivity is not a flaw. It is a design, chosen one. God does not pour spiritual depth into a person he does not intend to use. The ones who feel everything are the ones being formed to carry something that requires exactly that kind of awareness. Every moment you felt too much. Every night, the weight of what you carry seemed like too great a thing for one person was not a punishment. It was preparation. Your sensitivity is your assignment, giving you, in advance, a preview of what it will cost. The second sign is that you have survived things that should have broken you completely. Not ordinary difficulty, the specific kind of loss. The extended season of silence from the one place you needed to hear from. The confusion that strips a person down to the raw material of who they actually are when there is nothing left to perform. The kind of thing where the honest truth is that there were moments you could not have described to anyone how close you actually came to letting go. And yet, here you are, still standing, still seeking. Something inside you still absolutely refuses to release its grip on the knowing that there is more to this life than what you can see from where you currently stand. That is not stubbornness, chosen one. That is a grace that was placed inside you specifically to hold you until you arrived at this moment. The survival was not coincidence, not luck, not just resilience. Every time you made it through something that should have ended you, something in the unseen realm was watching and recording and saying, "This one has what it takes for what is coming." The third sign is the pull that keeps returning, the thought that comes back, the dream that will not stay dormant. The pull toward a certain kind of purpose that you have tried to lay down more times than you can count because it seems too vast for who you currently feel yourself to be. You have called yourself arrogant for carrying it. You have called yourself naive. You have told yourself that people like you do not get to do things like that. And then it comes back. Purposes do not choose people who are already large enough to carry them. They choose people who will grow. The size of what keeps calling at you is not a measure of your current capacity. It is a measure of who you are in the process of becoming. When something keeps returning, no matter how many times you release it, that is not a fantasy your mind invented to comfort itself. That is direction from the one who can see your end from your beginning. The fourth sign is that your life has taken turns you could not have predicted and could not have engineered. Doors that opened when everything in the logic of your situation said they should have stayed closed. Doors that shut right before you walked through them, and you were devastated. And years later, you stood somewhere entirely different, and you understood. Paths that looped back and seasons that stalled and stretches of time that felt like nothing was happening when in reality something below the surface was being built. You were not lost, chosen one. You were being rooted. There is a difference between a life that is wandering without direction and a life that is being guided by someone who can see farther than you can see from where you are standing. God has not been confused about your timeline for a single moment. Every detour was deliberate. Every season of preparation that felt like punishment was producing something the next chapter required. And the fact that you are still here, still watching, still asking questions, is itself a sign that the rooting is not finished. The fifth sign is the one that is hardest to name, but that you will recognize the moment I say it. Somewhere in the quiet, often in the late hours when the noise of the day has stopped, you carry a feeling that you were made for something. Not necessarily something loud, not something the world would celebrate on a public stage, something real and deep and lasting, something that matters in ways that cannot be measured by anything anyone can currently see. And that feeling has survived every attempt you have made to argue it into silence. That is not ego, chosen one. That is not wishful thinking inflating a life that has no real substance behind it. That is the voice of the one who fashioned you, still speaking after all this time, still saying your name, still saying, "This one is mine," and "What I began in this person I have not abandoned." Type 777 inches. The comments, if any of those signs are true of your life. Because what I am about to share next is going to go even deeper into the love that has been watching over you, and I want you fully present for it. Now I want to pause and hold something in front of you before we continue, because over the past several years, something has been discovered in research laboratories that most people sitting in churches and spiritual communities have never been told about. Not because it contradicts what the sacred texts say. In fact, it connects to what the sacred texts have been pointing toward all along. It simply came from a direction that most spiritual communities are not watching. A small group of neuroscientists, led by a doctor in New York who has spent 20 years studying this, found something about the way the human brain is designed that explains something most spiritually sensitive people have felt but have never been able to name. Something so fundamental it traces back to a Nobel Prize, yet so simple in its application that it sounds almost suspicious at first. I am going to tell you what they found later in this message, But right now, I want you to hold a question. What if the reason you have struggled to feel the full weight of what God says about you actually landing in your body and your life, and not just floating in your head as a belief you agree with but cannot seem to fully inhabit? What if the reason is not spiritual failure? What if something was taken from you at a level deeper than belief, deeper than discipline, deeper than anything more effort or more prayer could simply fix? Hold that question. We are coming back to it. Because first, I need you to understand the full, immeasurable weight of what has been said about you, so that when the answer arrives, you will be ready to receive it. There is a reason the love of God feels largest when it is directed at someone who has been through the most difficult seasons. Not because suffering earns favor, because suffering removes the layers. When a person has been through the kind of seasons that strip away performance and pretense and leave them with nothing but their honest need, what remains in that person is the exact shape that love was designed to fill. And you, chosen one, have been in that shape for a while now. That is why this is landing the way it is landing. I want to show you something. There are certain inner structures that keep appearing in the lives of people who are deeply loved by God. Not titles, not offices, not achievements. Inner structures, ways of being made. And when I name them, I want you to notice which ones you recognize in yourself. The first is called the seer. The seer is the one who perceives what others miss, who watches a situation and sees the hidden thread running underneath the surface of it, who walks into a room and registers something before there is any visible evidence to register, who has carried for most of their life the particular loneliness of being told they are too sensitive, too intense, too much, because the depth of what they notice makes people around them uncomfortable. If you carry this structure, here is what you need to understand. God did not give you that kind of perception as an inconvenience He eventually plans to remove. He gave it to you because the assignment ahead of you requires the ability to see what most people will refuse to look at directly. Every moment your depth has felt like a weight is a moment your depth was being sharpened for something specific. The second is the cycle breaker. The cycle breaker is the one who, often without consciously choosing it, feels the accumulated weight of patterns that have been running in their family or their community for generations. The patterns of poverty that seem to follow certain bloodlines. The patterns of broken relationships, of silence around the things that hurt the most, of people reaching just within sight of something and then retreating. The cycle breaker did not choose to carry awareness of this. It arrived, and with it came the specific ache of knowing something needs to end and sensing in some unclear way that you are the one who is positioned to end it. The third structure is the wounded healer. The wounded healer is the one who has been broken in the exact way that someone else is going to need to be understood, whose darkest chapter becomes the precise vocabulary of compassion for another person who is standing in that darkness right now and needs to hear from someone who has been there and come through. The wound is not incidental to the calling of this person. The wound is part of the credential, and the depth of the love God carries for a wounded healer is always proportional to the depth of what they were asked to go through. The fourth structure is the hidden vessel. This is the one whose gift has not yet been recognized by the world around them, who has been carrying something for years, often in obscurity, often without the kind of visible affirmation that would have felt like confirmation. The world has not yet seen what this person holds, but God has seen it from the beginning, and the season of hiddenness has not been a sign of abandonment. It has been the precise condition under which what they carry was being deepened enough to hold the weight of what is coming. If any of those landed as recognition rather than just information, I want you to hear this. These are not personality categories from a modern assessment. These are ancient patterns of how God builds the people He loves with the most concentrated intensity. And the thing they all share is this: The love directed toward them is not general and diffuse. It is precise and personal. It has been calibrated over years to the exact shape of who they are and what they are being prepared for. Now I want to take you to two figures from the sacred record, because I think seeing what you share with them will do something in you that explanation alone cannot do. The first is Joseph. You know the outline of the story. Sold by his brothers, taken into slavery, falsely accused, imprisoned, years and years of descending when everything in the logic of his situation pointed downward. And through every single one of those descents, the text does not say that God had left. It says the opposite. In every location where Joseph was sent, including the locations that should have destroyed him completely, the text says the same thing. God was with him. The love did not protect Joseph from the descent. The love protected him through the descent and made every descent into a form of preparation that could not have happened any other way. Here is what you need to hold in that story. Joseph did not know, while he was in the pit, what the pit was producing in him. He did not know, while he was in the prison, what the prison was building. He only knew the honest weight of where he was. And yet, from outside the story, from the perspective of the completed arc, you can see that every single location of suffering was a precise step in a path that could not have been constructed without it. The love of God for Joseph was not absent in the suffering. It was present in the suffering in the most concentrated form it would take anywhere in the entire story. The second figure is David, called, by the one who knew him before he was anything visible, a man after the heart of God. Not because his record was clean, not because his performance was consistent, because in the caves, in the wilderness, in the years of fleeing from something that should have been his, David kept talking. He kept pouring out the honest contents of his grief and his fear and his confusion without editing it into something more presentable. And God called that raw, unpolished, sometimes desperate, reaching the expression of the very kind of heart he had been looking for. There is also a woman I want to tell you about, a woman from a small city in the Midwest, someone who found herself in what she described as the hardest 2 years of her adult life. Her marriage had gone quiet in the way that is harder than loudness. Her children were struggling in ways she did not know how to help. She had tried prayer and journaling and every spiritual practice she had been taught, and she kept arriving at the same wall. She felt the distance. That specific spiritual distance where you believe in the love intellectually and cannot feel it in your body at all. She came across something during that time that I will share more about later in this message, but the thing she said afterward was this. She said it was not that she had new information. She said something in her had been cleared, like a channel that had been blocked and then was not blocked anymore. And the love she had been taught to believe in as a doctrine, she said, arrived, not as a thought. As an actual experience she felt in her body. I am going to show you what that clearing was later. Right now, I need to show you what was blocking it. There is something that stands between most people and the full reception of what I have been describing. It is not intellectual doubt. It is not theological disagreement. It is a feeling that most people carry so deeply and for so long that they have stopped noticing it is even present. I want to name it now, because naming it is the beginning of what this message is ultimately moving toward. The feeling is this. You agree that God loves people. You believe it as a principle. You have said the words. But when you bring that belief close to yourself, when you try to apply it to your specific name and your specific history and the specific list of things you have not been able to fix about yourself, something tightens. Something in you says, yes, but you do not know what I have done. Yes, but you do not know how many times I have promised to change and circled back to the same place. Yes, but for someone with a history like mine, this general love surely comes with some kind of condition I have not yet met. Chosen one, that tightening is not humility. That is a wound that was given a theological disguise somewhere along the way. Someone or something, over many years, trained you to believe that love has to be earned before it can be received. And that training went deep enough that it now speaks in the voice of spiritual seriousness, when what it is actually doing is holding you at a careful distance from the one thing that was designed to be the foundation of your entire life. The love of God for you is not on hold until you have resolved your history. It is not the reward waiting at the end of the process of becoming. It is the fuel of the becoming. It is not what you arrive at when you finally get it together. It is the thing that makes getting there possible. And the God who has been watching your life with fierce and unhurried attention has not been waiting for you to clean up your record before he turns toward you. He turned toward you before the record even began. Type, "I see it," in the comments if this is landing in a new way. Because where we are going next is going to ask you to receive something, and I want you ready. So, what do you do with a wound that has learned to speak in the voice of humility? What do you do with a training that runs deep enough to feel like discernment when it is actually a barrier? How do you begin to let in a love that some part of you has been quietly insisting you do not fully qualify for? These are not abstract spiritual questions. They are practical ones, and they have practical answers. I want to give you 3 specific practices, not concepts to add to the list of things you already believe without feeling them, not more theological reasoning. 3 actual things that are specifically designed to move what lives in your head down into the part of you where it changes how you actually live. The part where love lands as a lived reality and not just as a doctrine you mentally endorse. The first is what I call the declaration practice. I know the word declaration can carry the baggage of something performative, something you saw modeled in a context that felt forced or theatrical. Set that association aside for a moment, because what I am describing is different. Most people, when they think about God loving them, think about it the way they think about a fact they learned in school. They know it is true in the abstract. They reference it when they need comfort. They mention it in moments of gratitude, but they never speak it directly toward themselves, specifically and unhurriedly, the way you would speak something important to someone who needed to hear it said out loud. The declaration practice is this. Once a day, in a moment before the noise of the day has taken over, before the demands and the notifications and the 100 small urgencies begin, you speak something true, not a repetition you push through while your mind is somewhere else. You say it with the same quality of attention you would give to something that actually mattered. And what you say is this: the love that made me is not confused about me. It is not waiting for a better version of me to arrive. It is not keeping a record I need to settle before it turns toward me. It chose me before I was anything visible, and it has not changed its position. You say it, and then you stay with it long enough for your body to respond, not just your mind agreeing, your chest actually loosening, your breath actually slowing. The physical response is not sentiment. It is your nervous system registering what is true. And the more consistently you offer your body the truth, rather than the habitual story of unworthiness, the more the truth becomes the operating baseline rather than the aspiration you visit occasionally and then leave behind. The second practice is evidence collection. And this one asks something more of you, because it involves returning to the parts of your story you would rather not revisit. Most people look at their history and find the evidence of what went wrong, the losses, the failures, the seasons, that seemed to prove some unfavorable conclusion about how the universe was arranged around their life. And from that collection of evidence, they draw a story about what is fundamentally true about how things work for them. What I am inviting you to do is to go back into that same history and look for a different category of evidence, not denying what was hard, not pretending the difficult seasons were something other than what they were, but asking a different question of the material. In the middle of that season, was there a door that stayed open when it logically should have closed? Was there a person who appeared at the exact moment you needed someone? Was there a time when something should have gone completely wrong and instead turned in a direction you cannot fully account for by the ordinary logic of how things work?